check 1, 2, check. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Charles the Awakened, and I'd like to welcome you all to Source and Back.
Episode 5, Astral Travels.
So I'm 3 or 4 years old, riding in the back of my grandpa's car on the freeway. We encounter a portion of the freeway that has heavy construction. I can hear the loud construction work and smell the concrete and machinery at work. I can even hear the voices of some construction workers as we pass by. But I can't see anything. In fact, I can't even move. Wait a minute. Am I asleep or awake? This was my very first experience being conscious, but technically asleep. I lay down to go to sleep. I begin to hear this ringing in the background. Almost instantly, the ringing is now over me. So loud it is almost painful. I liken it to people who have survived hurricanes and say it's like a freight train right over them, let alone the perceived chaos the sound produces. I can't move at all, and all I see is blackness. I recall thinking, if I could just move my finger, then I can move my hand, then I can move my arm, and that will surely wake me up. I recall using all the power I had to try to move, and move my finger just the slightest bit. I had so much focus on it, I would never focus on the blackness that surrounded me. Then it happens. I finally move my finger enough to move my hand, then my arm, and I wake up. Whew. That was intense. I get up, go to the bathroom, then I go downstairs to the kitchen. Maybe look in the fridge or cabinet for something to eat. Then, 5 to 10 minutes into this, I actually wake up. Was this a dream inside of a dream? When I woke up the first time and went to the bathroom and walked downstairs looking for a snack, it was just as real as this reality now. This continually happened to me over the next 10 years. I actually got to the point where I could do it on cue. I remember some of my cousins came over when I was 7 or 8. I asked them to see if they had experienced anything like this. They said no, but I proceeded to show them how easy it was to do it. This is mid-afternoon and we all laid down on the floor. I told them just to relax and it would happen. Within 5 minutes, that loud ringing came in and I had the experience. My cousins did not. As I got into my college years, this experience became more and more infrequent. I found it most prevalent when I would pull an all-nighter and be so tired the next day it was extremely easy to fall into this state. Out of college, I ran across a blog entitled Astral Travel. She went into detail explaining her astral travel and said that each time she would go in, she would hear a loud ringing in her ears as she entered a portal. Aha! So that's what I've been doing all these years. Or at least now I can put a title to it. Shortly after, I ran across a video on YouTube where a gentleman was discussing his DMT journey. He stated the same thing happened to him every time he went in. A loud ringing in his ears, then a portal, and voila. So had I been essentially releasing my own DMT? Is that what astral travel essentially is? One's own innate ability to release enough DMT that they break from this reality? Flash forward several years, and as an adult, I have not had an experience in a long time. So much so I wanted to go back now and see how it would be. But how? I just can't tell myself to astral travel. Or can I? I put together a series of audio affirmations stating the following: I easily astral travel. When I travel, I find it extremely easy to remember. And I easily release DMT into my system at will. And I started listening. This was around the time that zombie show The Walking Dead was really big. And I was a really big fan. So, 4 to 5 days after I started listening to my affirmations, I had a lucid dream. It's different than astral traveling in the sense that you awaken in the dream as opposed to being conscious entering that space. So I'm in this apartment on the second level with 3 other people who I don't know. There are zombies on the first level and what appears to be hundreds outside. They somehow make their way to the second level and I try to help secure the door, but there are too many. They bust through the door and grab 2 of the people there. I run into the next room and the other person runs somewhere else. I jump out of a back window. I land on the back porch. There is a huge field separating the houses, approximately half the size of a football field. A couple of zombies notice me right off the bat, and I can hear more coming from the front. I take off in a full sprint heading to the next house. Now these zombies were more like the ones from the movie 28 Days Later, which could run really fast. I could feel my heart race as I could hear the patter of zombies running behind me. All I could think of is how painful it's going to be eaten alive. I could picture their teeth biting into my flesh and just what a horrible way to go. I make it to the porch of the next house and turn around. The zombies are roughly 10 feet away, charging forward, and this thought pops into my head. Everything slows down, and I say to myself, wait a minute, I'm dreaming. My body immediately goes into a lotus meditation pose, and a bolt of yellow energy shoots out of the top of my head, also known as one's crown chakra. I immediately wake up, like sitting up, waking up. No drowsiness at all. It was like I had been awake the whole time. Roughly 2 weeks after listening to my audio affirmations, it happened. I had just got home from having Sunday brunch. I ate too much and, with a couple mimosas in me, I decided to take a nap when I got home. Maybe it was the drink, but I thought to myself, I probably should get a drink of water. I get up, go to the kitchen, and before I grab a glass, I look at the microwave. The time on it was all jumbled together, continuously moving. I recall a fellow astral traveler saying, you know you're on the other side when you look at a digital display and it becomes all garbled. Or when you try to flick a light switch on and off and nothing happens. I thought to myself, aw man, I'm astral traveling, baby. I immediately run through the kitchen wall into the front room, then through that wall into the bedroom in amazement. I look through the window, seeing the front street and all the cars. And now I no longer move. I flash or teleport my consciousness out onto the street. I grab my neighbor's car and I throw it 1/4 mile down the street. The clash of metal and windows breaking was a sight and sound to behold. My very next thought was flight. I take off into the air at unimaginable speeds. I'm now flying over Texas and I decide to descend into this strip mall that had a U shape to it. I think to myself, I wonder how fast I can fly here. I start flying in circles within this strip mall, Superman style. My arms are now bending down due to the force of the wind as the stores in the strip mall start to become a blur. I stop flying, and I'm immediately transported back to my bed, now waking up ready to get some water. Quite the experience, and very different from my younger years. I had no loud ringing in my ears. In fact, the transition this time was flawless, if you will. 3 to 4 days later, I had another experience. It was evening, and I was going to bed. Not sure how I even knew it, but I was back in that space. I thought to myself, I wonder how high I can go, and immediately flew through my ceiling and into the air, going higher and higher. I'm now in space, looking at Earth, the moon, and the sun. I keep going higher as I notice our universe is starting to portray an image of a square, which is surrounded by other universes that are also squares. I keep going higher and higher until I now see the edges of what is now a huge square, all combined of multiple universes. Outside the huge square, there is nothing, just blackness. At the same time, I'm also able to see this massive square from the side, and it appears to be no more than 2 inches thick. I keep going higher and higher until it happens. I reach what appeared to be a white net when I touched it. I descend some, and it becomes invisible. I try to go higher again, and when I hit it, it illuminates. A red orb now appears in front of me and starts to circle me. Shortly after, 2 more red orbs appear. I had the sense that this is as far as I can go in this state. Everything began to slowly fade away, and I woke up the next morning.